On my feet, no, ain't nobody that can stand in my way. There ain't a minute I would rest for defeat. I hope there's gonna be some better days. This is just one of my many motives, but really I barely know what's mine. I can ignite it any moment, like the Carolina brush fires.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Mr. Skrilltown himself, and welcome to Skrilltown Talk. Tonight we have the award-winning writer, television, book, comic, author, Jaimie Engle.
Hey,
What's
thanks for
going
having
on?
me.
Good.
So much, my friend, so much. All good stuff. How about you?
I'm good. I'm delighted to have you on the show tonight. We really appreciate your time. It looks like you got a lot going on in that background right there.
Listen, I got that's my new comic that's coming out. Bing! And these are just some of my books, and
Yeah, so
it's prettier than my kitchen.
She's doing her thing, guys. She is award-winning, like I said, author, actress, writer, the whole nine. But let's show you a little bit about Jaimie Engle.
Hi, my name is Jaimie Engle, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go, a short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered, with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
Oh my God.
The music just kills me. It's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, you need to add comedian to portfolio too. Wow. So yeah, like I said, we have the lovely Jaimie Engle on the line. So yeah, just wow, that's funny. So is that the new book?
No, this is a book. I have it here. You see it? The Toilet Papers is the comic. Well, I'm going the wrong way. Martial Law is a short story in that collection. So don't be swayed by the comedic unicorn. Right. It is horror, comedy, historical fiction, sci-fi, and fantasy mostly. But I took that story and I adapted it into a teleplay. Mm-hmm. And then I had a comic book company, Blood Moon Comics, reach out to me and tell me they would like to do a 3-issue comic. So I'm currently just finishing up issue 3, just about. Cool as Heck is my artist. He's amazing, as you can tell. So it's short stories, and they're all either fun, scary, whatever.
Good
Why
deal.
Not?
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about Jaimie. She is an award-winning writer of film, television, books, and comics. She tells stories of redemption through duality and shifting perspectives in supernatural, action, adventure, and comedy genres. Her book awards include the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future in 2015, Kirkus Editor's Choice in 2020, and the Publisher's Weekly Booklife Prize in Fiction and Nonfiction in 2020. Her script, Martial Law, is based off her short story of Amazon #1's new book release in 2017 and was an official selection and quarterfinalist for several international film festivals. It was honored on the red list of the top 20, hitting number 15 for Westerns and number 6 for Western television 1-hour pilots. The story was signed to a limited edition comic book deal with Blood Moon Comics for July 2022 release. Her legal representation is Darren Chavez of Tri Carico Chavez LLP. So yeah, you've been you doing big things.
Trying.
Yeah, you doing really big. So what got you started on writing?
Honestly, when I was a little girl, I was reading Alice in Wonderland, and there was a moment where I remember that I fell into the story so deeply that I forgot I was reading a book. And I remember gasping in my room, and then I was back in my room. And I was like, that is the coolest feeling in the world. And I want to create these worlds and places for people to go and escape this world. And that was kind of when the bug bit.
Really, really. So, and then you just kind of went in. So, what was your first like experience with writing? As far as, did you do like short stories, or did you do like, what did you do?
I did a lot of really bad Shel Silverstein copycat poetry,
Mm.
and I wrote a lot of short stories. The toilet papers, I actually have a TP Junior for kids because they saw toilet paper on the cover and they're like, "Where's our stories?" So several of my actual, second, third, and fourth grade stories that are in crayon, I put in that book just to kind of inspire kids that, when I was your age, this is what I did, and now here I am. So there's no difference between us. You can do it too. But yeah, I just wrote all the time,
Yeah.
anything and everything.
Nice, nice. So are any of your films, are you planning on doing any type of like maybe possibly to movies, from book to movie situations, or?
Yeah, like I said, I've got the short story from the toilet papers for martial law. So that's in development departments of several production companies right now. And then the comic, obviously. And then my other story is The Dredge. This is the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Award novella.
Yeah.
This is also has been adapted to a pilot, with the Bible and the seasons and all that. And that's also, in development departments, and it's being considered. So I know a lot of writers will never, ever get something in the hands of a producer. So I feel very fortunate that they're at least reading what I'm writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. So from the beginning, what's the process, like your process of like thinking of a concept and then going into it on writing a novel?
For me, I have to go through create a template, like the whole story or synopsis, because I have found that, I've done a couple of books where I knew the beginning and I knew there was like epic battle at the end, and then I filled in the blanks, and it was very fun to write that way, but it was very difficult, meaning that it required a ton of editing. So I have found that when I spend more time up front, it's the same process. But when I spend more time up front building the world and the characters, then I spend less time in edits after the story, gets on paper. So for me, I try and write consistently, but rereading something you've written to me is work. Creating a post or a t-shirt, to support what you're doing is work. Right. Making these banners is work. So I try and make sure I'm balancing all of that. Otherwise, I think you can get overwhelmed with doing the marketing and the business side and not be creative, or vice versa. You can do so much creative that, you just don't even know what to do with it all.
Yeah. Okay. And how long does it normally take to finish a project that you've done?
For my books, my goal was always, I'm not writing books right now, but that's where we started. I tried to write 1,000 words a day, 5 days a week. For my screenplays, I try and do 5 pages a day or 3 pages a day, depending, 5 days a week. And then, I write on the weekends. It's not like that's I have to do that. I just know I can hit 3 pages a day. There's no day on the planet that I can't hit 3 pages, So that's my goal. And then if I can't hit it because, my kid gets sick or he needs to come home from school or whatever, I have the weekend to make it up, or I know that there's going to be days where I do 10 pages or 15 pages. You get that
kind of
scene.
Getting that flow.
Yes. Yeah. So I try to make my pages attainable. So that way I'm constantly moving forward. And if I do more, awesome. But if I, as long as I hit those goals, then I'm writing a new property every, 30 to 45 days.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been a part of a collective last year, and it did pretty well. It was basically a book on entrepreneurship, but I got to the chapter that I was writing, and I almost wrote too much. So how do you discipline yourself on either giving out too much for maybe a possible second, series or chapter, or like how do you discipline yourself on that?
And this is for like nonfiction?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a book called Write a Book That Doesn't Suck. And when I was writing that one, I tried to just maintain the same formula for each chapter. So it might be 2 to 5 pages and then a page of questions. So there'll be 4 questions at the end. So I tried to just, write enough to get the point across and then bring in the questions. And knowing that I had like sort of a loose parameter, 3 to 5 pages, that gave me just a little bit of structure to make sure that I maintained writing goals and also didn't overwrite.
Yeah.
But, if you're very passionate about a topic and you find yourself writing more, then maybe you should break up that topic into, diverse points within it. Like, marketing could be a huge chapter, but if you just did, Instagram posting versus creating t-shirts, then those are 2 separate chapters. So maybe you can look at it that way.
Break it. Yeah. Okay. So we have the biking bishop. He said, would she be interested in other people's work book, or is she committed on only her works?
This is my first year. Well, 2021 was my first year as a screenwriter. So at the moment, I'm trying to break in, the business. So I'm not taking on other IP at this time. But if we stay friends on LinkedIn, I see your LinkedIn profile. I always post what I'm doing, and there absolutely could come a time when that happens for sure.
Nice.
Thank you for asking. That's a good question.
Shout out to the biking bishop, Bishop Dr. Dre. So when was it when it finally hit you that this is what you really wanted to do?
Okay. So Amazing Stories of Steven Spielberg, that show in the 80s when I was a kid. I absolutely loved that show, and just obsessed over those short stories. And then I watched Back to the Future, and then it was all over. Okay. So for me, I started with my grandfather. He would sit me on his lap when I was little and tell me these elaborate Hulk stories. And he would make up the purple Hulk and the orange Hulk and, of course, the green Hulk. So I kind of felt like he was doing that, and I was getting that like auditory, like the pacing of stories. You know what I mean? What gets people's attention, and then I was watching the movies, and then I got really sick in like 4th grade, I think. I had like bronchitis and pneumonia and asthma or for whatever. I was out of school for 3 months. So there used to be this thing called a stereo, like it was a box.
A boom box.
Yes, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So I took my boom box and I put it next to the television, and there were these other things. They were like rectangles with circles in the middle and called cassette tapes. And I recorded Grease, Alice in Wonderland, and The Wizard of Oz, right? And I sat there and I wrote every word, every line of dialogue for all of them, except for I got better when Dorothy got to Munchkinland. I got better, so I stopped. But I started writing like I was screenwriting. I didn't even know. So then in middle school, I did a Anne Frank monologue at a like summer camp, and an agent who's actually still an agent in Orlando now. She signed me as an actor, and I started doing like Universal commercials. I was a hooker on Law and Order in Miami. I was an alien on Sequest, and I met Jonathan Brandis. He was like hitting on me at the craft service table, and I was like, dude, I'm trying to get food. I was really upset.
Right.
He was. So I think like once that happened, it was all over. I was like, there's nothing like being on set.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write movies and be on set. And that's always been what I've wanted to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So what have been some of the obstacles that you faced, just trying to get in the swing of things, trying to get your book out and your scripts out and so forth?
The hardest thing was getting the books out. I've had 2 agents, 2 publishers, and it just hasn't worked out with anybody. I've done everything myself, which is okay. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But it was so much effort for like, I launch a book and my 3 friends are like, hey, I bought your book. And I'm like, yep, I just saw the sale hit on Amazon. Thank you. So it was very difficult in that sense. But what I did get from doing it all myself is, all of this behind me is mine. So I can adapt it to a screenplay.
Yeah.
And not meaning to, my first book is a fantasy about a boy from my town who time travels to rescue King Richard's nephews. And it deals with bullying. And so that opened doors for me to go to schools and talk to kids about bullying and the power of their words in life and literature and the golden rule. And, that I had no clue was coming. I didn't expect that. And one day, as you asked about discouragement and obstacles, one day my oldest son, who's 20 now, he was in high school. And he said, I was upset because I was like, I'm doing all this work and I just don't feel like it's impacting anything. Because, we're creatives. Impacting means we have numbers, right?
Yeah. Results.
Our art is reaching the masses and we're getting hopefully a financial return. That's our, goal.
Right.
And my son said, Mom, it's not always about the reach and the money. And he told me that when he was in middle school and I came to his school, there was a boy there who he intended on going home that day and committing suicide. And something I said in my presentation changed his mind. And it was years later in high school that he shared this with my son. And my son was like, sometimes that's why we do things. So maybe you wrote these books for that. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, you probably has a tearful moment right there. Like, wow. Yeah, that makes
sense. So sometimes what I've learned from like that is being here today and, there's so many doors that are open right now that I just can't because they're not official yet. But having gone through everything I've gone to get right here, like all of that was part of the journey. And none of it was an obstacle. It was all just the ups and downs and the speed bumps to slow down so you could learn what you had to learn instead of rushing through. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned through this process is that all of it is the process. All of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I always say that everything happens for a reason, and it's kind of one of those things. So if you were to give some advice to an up and coming writer, author, or some sort, what would you say to them?
I think the biggest thing I see is that young writers get really excited because they have a great story and maybe they write well and they get a lot of feedback from friends and family or, random strangers that say you're a really good writer. And they just assume that because they wrote it, it's ready to go and someone should buy it. And my advice is just to study, to learn, to put your time in, find a mentor. I just think it's really important that you, like I said, you go through that journey to get to where you need to be and you don't rush it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. I was an editor for years. I had my own business while I was writing books because I wasn't making money. And and I would read so many great stories that were like maybe a 3rd or 5th draft edit and they needed like 20. And I would tell the people, like, I can edit this, but it's still going to need like 20 more layers of edits to get everything right.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, I've spent enough time on this book. I think I'm ready to release it. And I was just like, always like, oh,
right.
Okay.
Because you can see the writing on the wall. You already know, you can see it. And that's kind of like it is in my business. It's hard telling somebody or trying to give them advice when they don't want to take it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So tell us about your website and and where people can actually find you or contact you on social media.
Sure. I am most active on LinkedIn. I remember years ago, I would go on LinkedIn and I would see people posting like on Facebook, and I was just like, what are people talking about on this social site? This is so weird. And I just didn't understand it. Like, you put your resume here and you're going to talk about it. But like, it's been so amazing. I've met you, I've met other writers and directors and producers and big name producers. And like, everyone is so kind and supportive. Like, I don't see any political posts, It's just, I love there. So I digress. I am on social media at Jaimie Engle Writes. It's you see it right there. There's my name. I did that for you.
It's right
Jaimie,
there.
One word, Jaimie Engle Writes. And then my website is The Right Engle, WRITE, therightengle.com.
Right. And any other projects that you haven't mentioned that we could possibly see in 2022?
Sort of. I have I just posted today that I got a big bite on my lines. So that is all I can say right now. But I do feel that there is something very exciting on the horizon. So please, follow on LinkedIn for the story. And I'm hoping that is a 2022 project.
Nice. Nice. Well, as you heard, follow up on LinkedIn, guys. If you don't know about LinkedIn, you need to figure it out and educate yourself, because I'll tell you, you get a lot of resources, a lot of good connections on LinkedIn. I'll second that. Well, we want to thank you for being on today. And if you were to give, any shout outs, anybody, any last words?
Honestly, I would like to shout out to you and just say thank you very much for inviting me to come here. I checked out your stuff and I was very impressed. I think you do a great job, and I'm very happy to have been picked to help support you. So I hope you get some good feedback from this and you continue to grow your business and reach more people.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. Like I said, I always say my motto is we support those who support us. That's what I'm all about. And I most definitely will be going to the website and checking out some of your material and hopefully laughing at the toilet paper book after I read it on the toilet.
That's right. Wash your hands.
Right. Make sure I wash my hands afterwards. And I might even leave the book in there for the next person.
That's right. That's the way to do it.
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, yeah. We were talking earlier about our teams, and both of our teams are out of the playoffs.
It's very sad. But that Super Bowl show is going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the Pepsi long version of all the different musical acts they're bringing in, and it was just one after another. I was like, I didn't even care about the Super Bowl. I just want to see that for 2 hours.
Nobody's watching the Super Bowl. They're watching the halftime show.
It's going to be so good this year.
Right. And the commercials. Can't forget about the commercials.
Always.
Yeah. So, like I said, we want to thank you again for giving us the opportunity. And like I said, everybody that tuned in, we really appreciate it. Thanks. Continue to tune in every week for 2 shows a week from Welcome to Skrilltown Talk. Make sure you check out Jaimie Engle and all of her future projects. Check out Martial Law, The Toilet Papers, Pets of Elsewhere, and whatever else is behind her.
Everything. Just go to the website.
Just go to the website. So until next time, we will see you later. Go Chiefs.